Hello everyone! So I thought it'd be cool to make a video about what to expect at your first MRI. So for starters, an MRI stands for magnetic resonance imaging, which means it's a machine that looks like a tube that has huge magnets inside of it that practically spin super fast around you and take images of the inside of your body. So most likely, if you're having an MRI, it's to try to find something inside of you that's causing an issue that they can't see with a normal x-ray or normal ultrasound. So for me, they had to do a full spine MRI to try to figure out how big a syrinx in my spinal cord was. And then I had another MRI, which was also a full spinal MRI with contrast dye, to try to figure out if I had tethered cord or not. So I'm going to tell you a few pieces of advice that will help you for your first MRI. So first of all, you're not supposed to wear anything metal into the MRI machine because since it's a huge magnet, if you have any loose change on you or an earring or any piece of jewelry or piece of metal on you, it could fly off in the machine, which would be really bad because you don't want flying pieces of metal as a projectile when you're sitting in there. So they usually recommend you don't wear anything metal into the MRI. And if you do bring anything metal with you into the hospital, you'll probably have to leave it outside. And they have a little tray that they keep things like glasses in and jewelry if you have anything. But most likely, it's best just to bring your own things so that you don't have to change into a hospital gown there. So for me, this was my MRI outfit. It's just, as you can see, a dress with no metal straps on it at all. No metal on it. So that was really helpful because then I had to go to school right after the MRI. So it was just easier for me to not have to change into a hospital gown or change my entire outfit. And in case you go to school and you're like, oh gee, I really want to wear this dress to the MRI and it has too thin of straps, I might get dress coded. You know what? You can be like me and you can bring a jacket to wear over it and you can just take it off for the MRI if it has any metal buttons on it. And that's pretty much the attire you have to wear to the MRI. It's not too hard. And the most hard thing that you have to think about for an MRI is the fact that usually they say you can't wear deodorant into the MRI machine. I'm not sure exactly what it is behind this, but they just told me, myself, that I couldn't wear deodorant. So if you're worried about body odor or anything, alcohol swabs are a friend. They are helpful and they can at least last for sure through the MRI so that afterwards you can just put on deodorant and go about your day and be okay, which is great. And when you get to the MRI and you get ready to go in, they might ask you if you are okay with having contrast dye, which sometimes isn't disclosed before you have an MRI, which kind of surprised me. I was a little surprised when they brought me in and they're like, oh, could you sign this piece of paper for contrast dye? And pretty much what it is they put an IV in for the MRI for the whole entire thing, and they put in a type of dye that makes certain things stand out during the MRI. So it might be able to, you'll be able to see fat or certain fluids easier than other things. They'll become brighter, or which can help in diagnosing a lot of more hidden or less seen visible things inside your body. So for me, I don't like IVs, but if you're okay with IVs, then it's good to know, okay, well, they might have an IV, not sure, it depends. But for me, I had to have an IV for my second MRI. And so how long should an MRI be? So it depends on where the MRI is going to take place. If it's just going to be your top half, it might be only a half hour. But if you're like me and you're doing a full body, like full spine MRI, they cut it up into like two pieces. You got the top half and the bottom half. So it's pretty much two MRIs, and they give you a break in between. So it's about an hour to 45 minutes to an hour altogether to do the entire MRI, which seems like a super long time, but in reality, it's not too bad. And relating to why it doesn't seem too long of a time, I mean, you're laying flat on your back for an hour, and you would think, well, this is probably going to be pretty boring. Well, at the hospital I went to, they give you a headset because you have to wear headphones of some sort or noise-canceling device because the sound of the magnets spinning around you can be super loud and makes a lot of obnoxious noises. So they give you headphones to wear, and it's like a headset, so they can talk to you throughout the whole procedure. And they can ask you questions throughout, saying like, oh, how are you doing? Are you, like, do you need a break? Stuff like that. And for me, they let me listen to the radio, which made the whole experience a lot more fun because if you know me, I love 60s to 70s music. That's my love. So I was able to listen to that the whole MRI. So that made the experience kind of a lot more enjoyable. I mean, you're just laying on your back and you're listening to music the whole time. And once in a while, you hear a stray MRI sound come in, which can be surprising at first, especially the number of sounds they make. And if you're really interested to see what MRI sounds are like, I found a neat video that has all the sounds you could possibly hear in an MRI machine in case you're wondering and you want to know in case you're afraid that you might jump or get scared. So I'll put that either in the comments or the description. And if you're claustrophobic, I believe you're allowed to take certain medicines that can make it a little more calming for you, and so you won't worry as much. And they also have MRIs in some hospitals that are larger than others, so that you might be able to get into one of those MRI machines, which are a lot better. But you can also just close your eyes and try as hard as you can to imagine that you're anywhere but the MRI machine. And in case you do get sick, because if you're having contrast dye, you can start to feel like you want to throw up or feel nauseous. They give you an alarm button, which is just pretty much you squeeze it, they set it on your lap, and when they put you into the MRI machine, if you feel at all like you're nauseous or you're sick or you just need a break and you need to get out now, you can squeeze the button and it'll alert the doctor or the radiologist in the other room, and they'll be able to take you out of the MRI machine and give you a break or make sure that you're doing all right and all of that. So don't worry too much. There is a way out. It's not too hard to get you out of the MRI machine. You're not stuck in there forever. So that's a great thing. And lastly, when you come out of the MRI machine, myself, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to go. I need to get back to school, back to my class. And they told me they have a head restraint on you the whole time, so that just in case, so you don't try to jump in the MRI machine or move around too much. So as I was coming out, I was like, okay, getting ready for them to take the head restraint off. And before they did so, they warned me, don't jump off right away or don't roll off the MRI stretcher. And I was wondering, well, why is that? Because I never thought about it before, but I guess they raise you up on the stretcher before they put you into the MRI machine. So once they take the head restraint off, it's best you don't try to roll over super fast or jump up off the stretcher, because you actually could be about 2 feet off the ground, which could end up in a really bad fall if you happen to just roll. And my laptop just, okay, there you go. So it could give you a really bad fall or surprise if you happen to roll off sideways off the stretcher. But other than that, it's not a bad procedure. The noises can be a little jarring. If you don't have music, I mean, you got MRI sounds, but it could be a little boring, but other than that, it's not too bad a procedure. And it actually can be kind of a cool experience to be able to be inside an MRI machine and be able to experience what an MRI machine is like. So, thank you for watching, and I hope this is somewhat helpful. If you have any questions or comments or concerns that you want to ask me personally, put them down in the comments, and I'll try to get to them as soon as I possibly can and answer any questions you have. So until then, bye!